The biggest football show post-Mundial, the FIFA World Cup is upon us like a fever, and it's going down this Sunday. The opening ceremony kickstarts, and then again we'll be having the first match between the host country Qatar and Ecuador. Good to have you on Sports Today on ABS TV. Thanks a lot for joining us. My name is Ike Nwokedi, and the weekend can never start in a better way like this. World Cup fever is upon us. We'll talk a bit about it on the Sports Show today. Also on the Sports Show today, we'll tell you about grassroots football. We'll talk about the Onitsha Unity Cup happening in Onitsha. We'll tell you about the Okanot Football Championship. We'll also tell you about the Anambra Independent Football League, which kickstarts today. The Awka City Stadium will bubble. We'll also be telling you about the Anambra Independent Football League. They went on a courtesy call to the chairman, Anambra State Sports Development Commission, the person of Onyedum. We'll also be telling you about the courtesy visit to the chairman of the Anambra State Football Association by the AIFL. Also on the show, we'll tell you about the NOC Elective Congress expected to hold in Jalingo. And then we'll talk about Delta State preparation for the National Sports Festival. It commenced November 28th. And we are just days away, about 12 days to the National Sports Festival. Let's kick off the show right now. Let's talk about the Anambra Independent Football League, the AIFL. AIFL has come of age, and AIFL is a competition that commenced sometime in 2017, and this is the 7th season of the Anambra Independent Football League. All is now set for the commencement of the season 7 of the Anambra Independent Football League. In the first match of the season, scheduled to hold at the Awka City Stadium, Peace FC of Awka is set to engage Santa Maria FC of Onitsha. A match day one. You're seeing the picture of Peace FC on your screen. Mekong United are the defending champions of the AIFL Season 6. Just recently, the AIFL, it may interest you to know, signed a partnership deal with Cunning Management Limited for marketing and advertising of the only grassroots football league in Anambra State in the mode of the Anambra Independent Football League. So the AIFL is back. Football fever Fridays is also back. The AIFL, that's the way to go about it. The AIFL will be watching out for that. So 3 p.m. find your way to the Awka City Stadium today for the opener. In the match between Peace FC, expected to take on Santa Maria of Okpoko, Onitsha, in the first match of the Anambra Independent Football League. Just one match for the day, and then in subsequent weeks, action will continue, and in immense form, we expect to see 3 or 4 matches as usual, which is the routine of the Anambra Independent Football League. Away from that, let's talk about, still talking about the Anambra Independent Football League, the AIFL on Tuesday. Yes, at the AIFL on Tuesday, it may interest you to know, Tuesday the 15th of November 2022, paid a courtesy visit to the chairman, Anambra State Sports Development Commission, as you are seeing on your screen, in the person of Honorable Patrick Estate Onyedum. Yes, Honorable Patrick Estate Onyedum, the chairman of talking about the Anambra Independent Football League, and also made mention of the fact that he was going to support the AIFL as much as he could. Also, the AIFL made a courtesy call, went on a courtesy call to the chairman, Anambra State Football Association, and the chairman, Anambra State Football Association, of course, eulogized the AIFL for what they've been doing this past couple of years, trying to take grassroots football to the next level. Chikelu Iloyos, the chairman, ANSFA, promised that the winner of the Anambra Independent Football League this season and subsequent season to come will qualify automatically to play in the second tier of Nigeria Club Football, which is at the Nigeria National League. He also gave AIFL 3 match balls, as we showed you earlier on. So it's big one coming for Anambra Independent Football League. For you football fans out there, football administrators, managers out there, hear this. Anambra Independent Football League, the winner from this season will qualify automatically to play in the second tier of Nigeria Club Football, which is the Nigeria National League. So that is the development right now as regards the inroads being made by the management of the Anambra Independent Football League, and what a story has been for the AIFL this years and getting to this level. So wish the AIFL all the very best. And like I told you, watch out for the league opener later today at the Awka City Stadium. Is a match between Peace FC taking on Santa Maria FC of Onitsha. The game is coming up by 3 p.m. We wish both sides all the very best as we welcome the season 7 of the Anambra Independent Football League. You know, the chairman is not other person but Reverend Father Obinna Dike, and the vice chairman is Reverend Father Damian Ogwata, and the secretary is yours sincerely, Assistant Secretary is Zedek Ezenekwe. We also have the technical committee head in the person of our coach Donatus Ezokafo, and not forgetting the match coordinator of the AIF and the person of Reverend Father Christian Omojilinaka. And these are, of course, you talk about the clergymen involved in football administration. That tells you about the quality of the AIF. That tells you about the name, the image, the integrity of the AIFL. You can assure you of that once you are part of the Anambra Independent Football League. So kudos to the management of the AIFL for what they are doing in terms of taking football to the next level in Anambra State, and will continue to follow up on the developments concerning the only grassroots football league in Anambra State, and I think by extension the Southeast Geopolitical Zone. It is called the Anambra Independent Football League, DIFL, and its 67 kickstarter today at the Oka City Stadium. Peace FC Santa Maria is the match to watch. 3 p.m. Try and be there. Away from that, let's talk about the Oka North Football Championship. It is a fever. The Oka North Football Championship started on Saturday. We saw the first match between Onkoraf FC taking on Peace FC. The game ended 0-0. It was a match played at the Christ the King Parish Pitch, Isuaniocha, and 2 matches will be played tomorrow in continuation of the ongoing Oka North Football Championship, a project of the Oka North Local Football Council under the leadership of comrade Raphael Okafor. In Group B, Chukudinibo FC will take on Saint and Eagles FC. The match is expected to start by 2:30 p.m. and it will be played at the CKC. That's the Christ the King Field, Isuaniocha. In Group C, Opono United FC is expected to trade tackles with Delight FA. That match will commence by 2:30 p.m. and it will be played at the Anambra State Polytechnic pitch Mbakwo. In the first match of the competition held on Saturday to officially commence the league season proper, Onkoraf FC played out a goalless draw against Peace FC in a match played at the CKC field, Isuaniocha. So that one is also happening. So it's football happening everywhere. This time around, it is the Oka North Football Championship happening out there. The venues for the matches are the CKC Christ the King field out there in Isuaniocha, and then the Anambra State Polytechnic Mbakwu. There's also a venue for that place for the Oka North Local Football Council. Like I told you, it's an initiative and a brainchild of the Oka North Local Football Council under the leadership of Mr. or Comrade Raphael Okafor. We'll move away from Oka North. Let's go to Onitsha and talk about the Onitsha Unity Cup. And Onitsha Unity Cup is the brainchild of the Onitsha ex-footballers in diaspora. They are the ones bankrolling this maiden edition of the Onitsha Unity Cup. And action continues after the ongoing Onitsha Unity Cup bankrolled by Onitsha ex-footballers in diaspora. For some of the results of matches we have here, let's tell you that Golden Boys FC defeated Christ the King FC by 2-1 in their match. Elsewhere, Global FC, Neo Dynamite FC, Neo, Ado Babes defeated Mebuo FC by 2-1. Ochoma Neo, Galaxy FC, Neo. That match was played at the Chuba Ipazu Stadium. And Ndokama played out a 1-1 draw against Fege All Stars. And let me also tell you that Ozala FC and Michael FC equally played, and Ozala FC got the better of Michael FC by 2-0. And that's for the results of our matches recorded so far. Action will continue tomorrow and on Sunday. On Saturday, Golden Boys FC is expected to trade tackles with Ndokama FC. On Sunday, we'll see Galaxy FC play Morinho FC. Yes, Golden Boys FC, Ndokama FC match will be happening at the Chuba Ibazu Stadium on Onitsha. While on Sunday, the match between Galaxy FC and Morinho FC will be happening also at the Chuba Ibazu Stadium. Superstars FC will trade tackles with Michael FC. That match will be happening at Fege field out there in Fege. Let me inform you that the winner of the competition is expected to smile home with a 1 million naira, a whopping sum of 1 million naira. Runners up 500,000 naira, and third place team is expected to get a 300,000 naira. This is the product of the Onitsha ex-footballers in diaspora sponsoring the maiden edition of the Onitsha Unity Cup out there in Onitsha. And the competition has commenced already, and we're beginning to see beautiful actions. Results are coming through. So it's all weekend of a football action in Onitsha. And you can find your way to the Chuba Ibasu Stadium or the Fege Stadium out there to see some of the matches made possible by the Onitsha ex-players in diaspora. It is called Onitsha Unity Cup, and the likes of the local football council in Onitsha, Onitsha North and Onitsha South, where you talk about the chairman, talking about John Ubendo and Akan and Zelu are in charge of our proceedings there, ensuring that they dot their I's and cross the T's for a smooth flow of the competition, the Onitsha Unity Cup, which is the maiden edition. So we say kudos to all those that are involved on that one. Away from that, grassroots football. Now let's go national. Let's talk about the Nigerian Olympic Committee Congress, which is expected to happen on December 15th. And the Nigerian Olympic Committee, NOC, has set December 15th for its elective congress in Jalingo, Taraba, with the emergence of a new board. It was a part of the resolution of the NOC after its meeting in Abuja on Wednesday, where the new NOC Board of Trustees was inaugurated. The president of the NOC, Engineer Habu Gumel, urged that the newly inaugurated members are to act in such a manner that will assist the NOC in achieving its set goals and objective. Gumel added that the NOC had put in place the process of appointing the trustees, but due to a knotty issue that has not been resolved with the Corporate Affairs Commission, the CAC, before the final approval was granted, Gumel urged the trustees to comply with the NOC's relevant laws, rules, ethos, and regulations in force in the country, as well as the Olympic Charter. But what it is important is the Nigeria Olympic Committee are set to have their extraordinary congress in Jalingo, the capital of Taraba State, and it will be coming up on December 15th. And on Sports Today, be sure we'll keep you posted about the development concerning that one. Let's come back, would I say, home. Let's talk about Asaba. Let's talk about the National Sports Festival coming up, and it's all about the 21st National Sports Festival to be hosted by the capital of Delta State, Asaba. And let me tell you that Delta State Governor, His Excellency Ifeanyi Okowa, has a charge that contractors are handling various projects for the 21st National Sports Festival, tagged at Delta 2022, to double their efforts and deliver the facilities as scheduled. Okowa paid a visit to the Stephen Keshi Stadium, Asaba, where he expressed satisfaction with the level of work done so far. He, however, advised the site engineers to be safety cautious, as he was accompanied by some members of his executive council, including the secretary to the state government, Patrick Oka, who is the chairman of the local organizing committee, and the co-chairman of the local organizing committee, Tonobok Okowa, and the advisor to the local organizing committee, Solomon Oba. The governor inspected facilities such as the new indoor sports hall, a multi-purpose complex, the swimming pool, wrestling gymnasium, and the main bowl of the Stephen Keshi Stadium, where a new tartan track is being laid. Meanwhile, the secretary of the local organizing committee, Chris Anazia, has said that the November 28th to December 10 scheduled the date for the Asaba 2022 National Sports Festival will still hold. So getting towards the ending of the month, I think literally in 10 days time, the fever will shift to the capital of Delta State. That's talking about Asaba for the 21st edition of the National Sports Festival. And yours sincerely will be there to do justice to that coverage of the National Sports Festival, the biggest sports program in Nigeria, and the NSF is back in style. And now moving on to the African scene on the sports show. Tunisia are preparing for the Soccer Mundial in Qatar, and they are playing some couple of friendly matches. Let's tell you that Tunisia scored 2 second-half goals to beat Iran in a behind closed doors friendly ahead of the World Cup finals in Qatar. A penalty for Naeem Sliti and Ali Abdi Ali Abdi's effort gave the Carthage Eagles a 2-0 win in Doha on Wednesday after Iran defender Abdul Faal Jalali was sent off, and the North Africans begin their Group D campaign against Denmark on Tuesday. And then with games to follow against Australia on the 26th of November, defending champions France on the 30th of November. Tunisia have never progressed to the knockout stages in their 5 previous appearances at the Soccer Mondial, the FIFA World Cup. And let's see if this is a competition, this is a World Cup that will favor Africa. It's always been said that anytime the World Cup is hosted in Asia or some places like that, it always favors Africa. And there is something about this World Cup. Is this first World Cup to be hosted in a desert, the first World Cup to be hosted in the Arab League, the first World Cup where African teams, the 5 African teams, their coaches are all coaches of African descent. Yes, so a whole lot to be said about this World Cup, and we cannot wait. It starts on Sunday, to be precise. The opening ceremony starts by 2 p.m. Nigerian time, and the first match is expected to commence by 5 p.m. between Qatar and Ecuador. That was all about the World Cup, the Soccer Mondial happening in Qatar. You're watching Sports Today on ABS TV, the Friday edition. We'll go for a very short break. When we come back, I will talk about athletics, Formula 1, and then we'll wrap up the show by telling you about Cristiano Ronaldo and Manchester City refuting the claim that Ronaldo said he was on the verge of moving to the Etihad Stadium. We'll talk about that in a jiffy on Sports Today when we return. Welcome back to the show, Sports Today on ABS TV. And before the break, I told you about the Anambra Independent Football League, which is expected to commence today at the Awka City Stadium. We told you that Peace FC is expected to take on Santa Maria FC. We also told you that the Anambra Independent Football League management went on a courtesy call to the chairman, Anambra State Football Association, Chief Chike Louis Lenyosi, and he gave them some balls. He also promised and made some promises to the team and said that he will do his very best to ensure that the winner of the Anambra Independent Football League from this season and henceforth I will get automatic qualification to play in the second tier of Nigerian club football, which is at the Nigerian National League. Also, the AIFL went on a courtesy call to the chairman, Anambra State Sports Development Commission, the person of Honorable Patrick Estate Onyedum, who also promised to support the AIFL. I also told you about the Awka Northern Football Championship, which is on. I railed out at the fixtures of matches that to be played this weekend. I actually went to Onitsha. I told you about a competition being bankrolled by Onitsha ex-footballers in diaspora known as the Onitsha Unity Cup. I actually told you that the competition is the winner will go home with the prize of 1 million naira, the runners up 500,000 naira, and the third place team is expected to smile home with 300,000 naira. And then I told you about the NOC elective congress coming up on December 15th in Jalingo, the capital of Taraba. I actually told you about His Excellency Ifeanyi Okowa and how he has urged the local organizing committee to do the needful in terms of ensuring that all I's are dotted and T's crossed in preparation for the National Sports Festival, the 21st edition, which is expected to commence from November 28th, and that's 2 Mondays time to come. And then we told you about Tunisia, how they got the better of Iran by 2-0 as regards the World Cup qualifier. Well, let's talk about athletics. Let's tell you that Jamaican sprinter Shelly Ann Fraser-Price is amongst the finalists for the Women's World Athletics of the year. The 100 meters world champion is joined by American 400 meters hurdles gold medalist Sydney McLaughlin, Venezuelan triple jump world record holder Yulima Royas, Peruvian race walker double champion Kimberly Garcia, and Nigeria 100 meters hurdles gold medalist Tobi Amusan made up at the short list. The winner is expected to be announced by the World Athletics that's coming up in the month of December. And moving away from athletics, let's talk about Formula 1. In Formula 1, Let me inform you that Max Verstappen says some of the reaction to his role in the Red Bull team orders controversy in Brazil has been unacceptable and disgusting, and the world champion refused Red Bull's order to let his teammate Sergio Perez through on the final lap of last weekend's Sao Paulo Grand Prix to gain points in his fight for second in the championship. And Verstappen initially appeared to be referring to responses to the incident on social media, but he then also said he had problems with some of the media reports after the race out there in Sao Paulo, Brazil. And to conclude the show, Sports Today on ABS TV, it's time for us to check out some football news. And in football, let's inform you that Manchester City have denied Cristiano Ronaldo's account of his proposed move to the Etihad Stadium, with sources telling the media that the strikers claim that the move was close is false. Ronaldo joined Manchester United for a second spell after leaving Juventus in 2021, but not before speculation linking the Portuguese international with a move to Manchester City. We hear about that one. Ronaldo, 37 years of age, claims Ronaldo is claiming that only Sir Alexander Chapman Ferguson intervention stopped him from joining Manchester City, despite his highly successful first spell at the rivals United between 2003 and 2009. So that's the story about Cristiano Ronaldo, who said that it was Sir Alexander Ferguson that ensured that he did not move away from talking about the Old Trafford to the Etihad Stadium. Whatever that is, it's most likely that Ronaldo will be leaving Old Trafford very shortly, maybe in the aftermath of the World Cup, maybe the January transfer window. Ronaldo may leave. He has fallen out, or he has fallen out with the coach Erik ten Hag and the management team out there at Manchester United, and he's not a happy man. And if you ask me what I feel about that, I think Ronaldo should be let to go. I think his time is up at Manchester United. But in the days and weeks ahead, we'll get to know more about Ronaldo, and we'll continue to follow up on that developing story about one of the best players to grace this planet. That's talking about Cristiano Ronaldo Aveiro dos Santos. He is 37 years of age, and right now he's not having a rosy time at Old Trafford, and we'll follow up on that story. Well, that's the size of the show this morning. Sports Today on ABS TV. Thanks a lot for being part of the Friday edition. We'll be back here on Monday for another episode where we'll serve you the results of matches played in Onitsha, the Okanota Football Championship, and everywhere they are having grassroots football. And then we'll also tell you about the Anambra Independence Football League, which is expected to start today. But remember to be at the stadium, the Oka City Stadium, later today. Time for that is 3 p.m. for the match between Peace FC taking on Santa Maria FC. It's the first match of the season 7 of the Anambra Independent Football League. Thanks a lot for being here from the entire team. My name is Ike Nwokedi. Keep sporting and have a lovely weekend. Bye-bye now.